Hello and welcome to our next theme showcase. In today's showcase video, we're going to be walking through a theme by a creator named RobZombie, and the theme is called Catppuccin. It's a very simple theme, really well suited to smaller screen devices and very colorful. So right here we're looking at it on a 16:9 display. This theme supports many aspect ratios. I'll talk about those in a little bit, but let's talk through the options first. So right now I'm essentially on a grid view for the system view. And then if I go into the game list view, you can see it's also a grid view. And these are the default settings out of the box. It has a really nice kind of view of the metadata for a given selected game over to the left, and then a box art navigation for grid for the game list itself. And then the system view is just a really simple navigation based off of the logos for each system. If I go into UI settings here, and then look at the options for variants, we were just looking at grid, which essentially means system view grid and then game list view grid. And if I go to grid list basic, that's going to be a system view grid and then a game list view list. So let's look at that. And when that's ready to load, you can see basically here we have a really simplified list as well. Now this looks really great on smaller screen devices too. So I'll show you here over in the bottom right side here, I have a Retroid Pocket Classic, and this theme is like perfectly well suited for that device. But here as you see I scroll, it basically shows the box art for the game here on the right side and a simple list of games over on the left. And then the last option here is grid list detailed, and this brings in some metadata for the game, which is super nice. So if I go here, you could see now I have the video of the game playing, the metadata of that game, and then a description of the game as well. And the fonts scale really well, so even on this smaller screen, everything's super readable. Then if I go to UI settings, the other variant options are essentially a flip of what we were just looking at. So list for the system view and grid for the game list view will give me basically a look like this. Let's look at it. So on the game list view, I'm going to get a grid, and that grid is going to have a grid of box covers like we were looking at before, and then the metadata for the game over to the left. And if I go back to the system view is just a now simple list. So you can see RobZombie's put a lot of effort into just some nice customizations here, so you have a bunch of flexibility if you're trying to get the look you like. Now in addition to these UI settings or variants, he's also added a bunch of color schemes. So right now we're looking at the mocha color scheme. And if I go over to macchiato, it gets a little bit lighter. And then if I go to the frappe, again, it gets just a little bit lighter. And then if I go to the latte, it gets super light. So you can see there, you basically have a really nice set of color schemes here. Very clean, beautiful, bright, colorful at the end of the day. All right, so let's go back to Mocha. And then RobZombie's also added a set of really simple font settings as well. So by default, I have it here on large. If I change it back to medium, you're gonna see the font size here for the list gets a little bit smaller. So let's say you're using this on a larger TV. This basically allows you to get more games on screen for a bigger TV, and the larger font size makes it easier to read on a smaller screen. So let's change it back to large. And yeah, that's the essential settings for Catppuccin. So from an aspect ratio support perspective, it supports a lot of different aspect ratios too. RobZombie's did a great job of supporting basically any aspect ratio that ESD supports. So right now we were looking at 16:9. Also supports 16:10, which would be perfect for the Steam Deck. 3:2, which would be really nice on, let's say, like a Ionia Pocket Micro, or I think the Pocket Ace is another 3:2 device. 4:3, let's take a look at it on here. This is a 4:3 device. This is the Anbernic RG447M. But you can see here, it just scales really well. So even on a 4:3 device, the grid view is super readable. The text is nice and readable as well. Just scaled excellently. Another really nice thing here that I've not really pointed out is he's done some really great work of adding some pixelized icons here for the system status icons. and then also created some nice, really custom icons for the help system down here as well. So that's a 4x3 device, also supports 5x4, 8x7, and this is where the Retroid Pocket Classic comes into play. And it's like this theme was built for this screen. If you look at it here, it's just super clean, it scales really well. Yeah, it feels like a really perfect Game Boy at the end of the day. So really well suited for this type of screen. Also supports phone screens though as well. So if you wanted to use it on a kind of widescreen phone, it does support 19.5 by 9. Super widescreen monitors too, so 21 by 9. And then if you had, let's say, like a RG Cube, it supports 1x1 as well. So yeah, this is Catppuccin. It's available on the theme downloader. Kudos to RobZombie for great work here. And yeah, hope you like it. Cool. Take care.